District Governor Mary Shackleton.
Hi, thank you, Cecily, and good evening, attendees. Welcome to the third session of District 7230 Summer University. Tonight, we're going to focus on a very hot and essential topic, virtual fundraising, and we're so grateful to have an expert in this area, Cecily Smith. Cecily has been doing a lot of presentations for districts and zones around the world on this topic. So Cecily needs no introduction, but let me go ahead and tell you a little bit about Cecily. She is a proud member and past president of the Rotary Club of Metro New York City. She's also an officer at the Zone 32 level. She's the assistant regional coordinator, which handles membership development. And she is also one of 20 innovative club advocates in North America charged with creating new clubs and new club models. Without further ado, Cecily, let's go ahead and get started. I will be monitoring the chat, as Cecily said. Please put your questions in the chat and I will be providing them to Cecily at the end of her presentation. So welcome on, and thank you, Cecily.
All right, everyone, thank you so much for taking the time on your evening to join us. So tonight we're going to talk about fundraising in a changed world. And if you look at this picture, you're not going to see anything like this for a long time. It's an amazing photo, all these Rotarians and friends coming together, and they're so close to each other. We are in a changed world. We will recover. We will get through this. We will find a new normal. However, it will not be the same. I'd like to give you a great quote from author Arundhati Roy. Historically, pandemics have forced humans to break with the past and imagine their world anew. This one is no different. It is a portal, a gateway between one world and the next. So while we would not ever have chosen to be in the situation we're in, this is where we are, and this is where, as Rotarians, we can look at ways that we can grow and change our clubs, ourselves, and our organization in the future. So, like we said, everything's changed. And I want to stress, though, it's not our values and what we do, it's just how we connect and operate that's now very different. We are needed more than ever before. It's just that the way we react is a little bit different. How we interact is a little bit different right now, but we are still a community. And this quote always makes me think of being a Rotarian in my club. Community is about doing something together that makes belonging matter. We still belong, we still connect together. It's just online. So one of the big things we're worried about now, how do we raise money? So many clubs have annual events, traditional events, trying new things, but all these ways that they raise money. And we can't do them anymore because we can't gather in groups. So one thing that's really good to know for you guys tonight is virtual events can be very successful. The pre-work is more consequential than the event execution. You really have to do your time, research, and practice and thought about putting together an online event. And your post-event work is really key to keep and build relationships because you can't hug and shake hands the night of the event and thank people. You have to follow up virtually or by mail or phone or email, and you really have to make efforts for that connection. So before we talk about ways to raise money online, I'm going to give you a different kind of success story, the conversion. Rotary Club of Whitby Sunrise normally has an annual Rib Fest every year. 3-day events, 50,000 people, food, concert, games, etc., raising about $125K. This year, obviously, they can't do Rib Fest. What they did is they partnered with a local brewery and restaurant, ordered over 1,100 online dinner orders that were either picked up at the restaurant or had Rotarians deliver, a team of Rotarians and friends, a concert that was, and a paint night. All of this ran through the club's website, driving traffic, raising awareness of the club's website. And they didn't raise as much money. They raised about $20,000. But you know what? It kept a favorite community event happening this year. People understand they can't do RibFest again. But this way they did something. They had entertainment online. They ordered and they still had a fun thing that made them part of their community. So if you have an annual event that you do that's always really successful, think about if there is a way you can, to use Jeffrey Cadaret's word, pivot and make it an online and slightly in-person event. But now we're back to talking about virtual events. And a big thing I really want to stress to you is that virtual events are accessible to a wide audience. It's not just getting to people in your community where you might not go from Upper Westchester all the way down to Bronxville because it's too far, and to come from Staten Island up to Harlem, no, worldwide. You can invite your friends, your family, your Rotary Friendship Exchange people, your past scholars, your community in general where you live. Everyone gets to be invited, and it is accessible. The people who normally could not afford your gala ticket can come to the event. The people who hate golf or couldn't take a day off of work to go to your golf outing can come to your online event. You can invite volunteers who normally work with an organization. If you partner often with a community organization, invite them. The point being is your normal audience is now much broader. And that is something that is an asset to having an event online. But when you're doing an online event, your mission, your vision, and your values are more important than ever. People go to the Rib Fest because they like barbecue. They go to the pancake breakfast because it's something to do with the kids on a Saturday morning. They go to the wine tasting night because, who doesn't like tasting some wine? So yes, everyone's happy they're raising money for a good cause, but they're really just going to the event for the sake of the event. When you're doing an online event, it is really, really important that your mission and your vision are clear. Why should I give you money? What will the impact be? Why is this important? And that's the message you really need to sell to people with your online event. And it changes it's almost like the telethon. If you remember the old school Jerry Lewis telethons, it's like that. What is happening? Why is it important? I'm going to share a slide, and the next slide, I'm simplifying it with old school and new, but then I'm going to explain it.
We've been here before, fighting the problems that fight back, but we can shift the status quo because we see opportunities where others see obstacles. We're change makers and problem solvers, uniting over 1 million minds to address complex issues facing communities around the world, including yours. With passion and purpose, we've led the efforts to put an end to polio. Now eradication isn't just possible, it's plausible. Every day we're investing in a new generation of leaders so we can continue to provide access to clean water, tackle global health concerns, support education, and build the foundations of peace across borders. We're working together as partners and professionals while making friendships that last a lifetime. We're Rotary, and there's no limit to what we can do.
Okay, so yes, it's oversimplified, but the reason I shared this is threefold really. Branding is really important when we're online. You have to sell an image that's professional, that's up to date, that has Rotary branding. And Rotary website gives us the tools, as we learned from Nikki last week. So on the right, here's a club with the old logo, please donate, and you don't get a lot of connection. When you are pitching things and reaching out to your audience online, you want to make it like it's a one-on-one conversation. Can you watch this with me? Would you like to help? It draws people's attention and they have better response rates and reads and follows and all of the metrics that go behind that. And it makes an emotional connection. And you need that emotional connection to your mission and your vision because you have to make the online sell. Why should I give you my money? What will the impact be? And the other thing that's important with thoughts like this is videos are so easy. Anyone with a cell phone can make a really short, important video. This is why I volunteer. This is why I donate. This is why this cause matters to me. And it has resonance. A 20 to 30 second short video can have an impact. Combined with something like this Rotary video has an impact. And especially if you are raising money that's in general for your Rotary Club, you need to help sell it to your audience what the heck Rotary is. Because remember, as we're aware, the understanding that Rotary exists has grown, about 7.5 out of 10 people, but that doesn't mean people still understand what it is. So using videos like this, and you guys will get a link to it, helps explain what Rotary is that's part of your campaign and your mission. Again, when you're planning your event, you really need to think about the content and make it important, short, simple, relevant, centered on the mission and why it's important. Now let's talk about more specific ways that we can raise money, and I'm going to share some success stories. Again, you guys are going to get the slides, so don't worry if you don't catch all the details on screen for the words, you will get a copy. A virtual fundraiser is a campaign or event that takes place entirely online and allows supporters to engage with your cause from anywhere. I'm going to talk about some different kinds. An online auction, a gala, a virtual peer-to-peer event, a virtual challenge, a DIY do-it-yourself campaign, and online donations. First, a silent auction. That's where, in the midst of talking about your mission and why it's important and having some videos or speakers, you're also running an auction, listing out item descriptions, showcasing photos, tracking bid information, registering bidders, etc. And this is what's sort of counterintuitive, but if you are a low-tech Rotary Club that really might struggle with the technology of how to raise money online, but you have the kinds of connections to come up with good donated items, and you have the members and friends and audience who can bid generously on items, doing a silent auction is actually a smart move because you contract with an online company that runs nonprofit auctions online. They help provide the infrastructure, the way to collect money, the way to register bids, all that infrastructure. And yes, you are paying them a percentage of your profits or a set fee. But if you are trying to raise money in a, good, this is our big event for now kind of way, and you have the connections and the goods, but you don't have the tech, it's worth it to pay someone a little bit of money to get that expertise into your club. And here's a success story. In March, in Philadelphia area, there was a nonprofit that has their annual auction for child-related charity, Abracadabra. Obviously, COVID hit. They could not have their in-person gala event. They went virtual. It was a lot of work ahead of time, figuring out who's on the team, how you can have a fundraiser, what are their success stories, being really focused on their major donors, treating them like VIPs, hand-holding ahead of the event, walking them through the event, having a tech line so people could call if they have problems figuring out how to bid. They prepared for bids to come in and to fill in the dragging moments with some entertainment or mission speeches and stuff like that. They have influencers creating, getting the word out about their event. They staggered a few live auction packages to keep things interesting. The main thing is they put a lot of work and a lot of practice ahead of time, and it was successful. They normally raise close to $1 million at this event. They raised about $900,000 this time, but there's no gala. It was all online. The overhead is much less. And that's something to think about when you're doing your online event planning. It's a completely different metric. You don't have overhead. You don't have to sell X number of golf outing spots or X number of tickets at the ballroom. or sell enough to pay for the bartender. You may have online fees of audience capacities, memory storage, and other things, but it's a different kind of overhead, and it's much, much less than an in-person event. So when we're talking about an actual event, it's shorter than a real-world event. Most people do not have an attention span online for more than an hour. And honestly, after people are online all day for work, they're kind of, that quote, zoomed out. So you want to be really clear, the impact of their donations. Why is it important? Keep the content relevant and keep it concise. How can it be fun and entertaining? How can you mix it up? Are there videos? Is there entertainment? Do we do breakout rooms? Everyone who came to our district installation, in the midst of this, everyone all together hearing speeches, y'all get a chance to have some breakout rooms and talk to each other one-on-one. You can involve guests like that. You can involve them with chat boxes. If you're tying to Facebook Live, there are ways to add comments like that, or tie to Instagram Live, the same thing. How can you bring a real world touch? If it's an event where it's thematically appropriate, you could have a cocktail that's a signature event with the recipe that goes out beforehand. A recent successful event actually had the cocktail made during the event and tasted, and the recipes were out there for people to do it at home. Another recent success story had a party in place basket. So for $500 local, and this did have to stay within the community, local people could buy a $100 gift card to a local restaurant, some donated wine, some local goodies, and some swag that related to the nonprofit. So there was a cost of about $200 maybe for the basket that the nonprofit scheduled and dropped off at people's doors. But they made money. The people who bought the basket got a really great experience to enjoy it that night. The local restaurants had the gift certificates purchased, so they knew about it in advance and were listed as community partners. So you're also helping community business by sending them gift certificates. So, and ideally, alerting them that they might be used that night. So there are ways you can get creative and think about making it fun. Our zone installation event, we sent all the incoming DGs and current DGs a card in the mail with an invitation from the zone directors. So it's not a big wow, but it's a nice personal touch. So you want to think about all these ways, how to create connection and a real world touch to make guests feel part of the event. Oh, and we're going to toggle back. Tickets. We don't want to really sell ticket prices. You want to make a pitch. You want it to be accessible for as many people as possible. And when you sell a ticket, then someone donates their $50, $40, and then they don't really feel compelled because they already donated. You want people to donate as they can and as your kind of emotional pitch motivates them to do so. Our district installation was not a fundraiser, but we said, hey, if you're coming, if you're able, can you donate to the Rotary Annual Fund for the foundation? We had some people didn't donate, no problem. It's not a fundraiser. Some people donated $10, $20. Some people donated $500 and all the spans between. The point being is when you're having your event and your campaign and your pitch, let everyone be accessible and let everyone donate as they can, and don't shut yourself off from the big ticket donors who are going to go, hey, I like this, here's $1,000. There are people like that. People really are still donating. Peer-to-peer fundraising. You're using individual participants and sometimes a team competition to raise money via your social networks. You're pledging to walk, run, dance, an online talent show where you're voting for favorites, a cake decoration competition where videos show things during their progress, voting for the winning results. There are lots of interesting ways that you can have an online competition or team events to raise money. And there are lots of great softwares that will let you have that individual fundraising capacity. The team all shares the mission and fundraise individually within their networks towards this big goal. And a success story that goes along with that. Rotary District 7070 near Toronto turned their annual AIDS Walk into a self-walk online event, raising money for AIDS and community health. So this got opened up to a much broader group. So they're walking for an AIDS-related charity or a community health-related charity. People are walking on their own in scenic locations, at home, outside, in costumes, recreating a famous walk. People can videotape themselves, and on the final day of the event, they're having like a mini telethon where they're going to be awarding prizes for best videos and most entertaining walks. And they're turning this event into a bigger community thing that people can still safely participate in by being distanced, raising money, and walking. And what's really important, this is part of their website. I'm not a Rotarian. Can I help? You sure can. When you're doing an online event, you're just not stuck with your own club raising money. You can have anyone interested in the cause be a part of that team and say, gosh, I want to raise money for my community health org. I'm going to start a team and we're going to do it. And you get this bigger group than you might have normally by bringing in a lot more people to have their own fundraising pages. A virtual do-it-yourself challenge is usually really simple. You're campaigning for a fundraising goal. You're donating a special day like a birthday or a charter celebration, and you're fundraising along the way. You're inviting friends to the challenge, and you can even have a physical situational challenge. Hopefully you all remember the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge from about 4 or 5 years ago. People dumped a bucket of ice water on their head, said, I'm donating $100 to ALS research, and I challenge Mary, Eric, and Taylor. And then they get tagged on social media, and then they do it, and then they tag more people. It went viral. They raised so much money for ALS research. Your club could think of some kind of fun challenge and just make it a simple online thing where you're inviting people to participate. Now, we also talked about ideas an online drive where it's not a specific event. You're just getting out the word by email, social media, through all your networks saying, hey, we're raising money for a cause. You want to make sure it's easily understood, resonant, and has a branded community impact. And a good example of an online drive success, Rotary Club of Markham Sunrise partnered with Canada Cares to provide Rotary branded meals for healthcare workers fighting COVID-19. Healthcare workers, they're in the thick of it. We want to help them. Food, that's an easy concept. My $15 provides a meal for a healthcare worker. It's coming with a Rotary sticker on the top so they know it's coming from Rotary Markham Sunrise. And the meals are purchased from local business. So they had restaurants that would have gone under that are staying afloat because they are part of this aid network as well. I know Rotary Club of Harlem has also done something similar, partnering with Salvation Army and World Central Kitchen, which a great example of also building on some hashtag resonance. World Central Kitchen is a really known fundraising nonprofit that does amazing work in disaster relief, providing food and also providing food now in hard-hit COVID areas. You've got that hashtag relation when you partner with a bigger group, just like if you're Canadian, you know about Canada Cares. So this Rotary Club was $10,000 of that $52,000 of success. So it's an easy way to do a campaign. They just pulled it together, snazzy marketing, got the word out, and people said, yes, I want to help. Here's my $15 or more. The one time you might want to do a ticket is if you have a success story that's entertainment. Virtual bingo night is a great example. North Shore Rotary Club. You buy pay $10 for your bingo card and have fun playing bingo. E-Club of Hawaii does a drag queen bingo night. Rotaract Manhattan has done a wine and paint night. And I know of a number of Rotaract clubs that have done pub trivia nights, but doing them online. This is a fun activity-driven event that's low stakes, that you can repeat it once a month, maybe once a week, but you can do it often without wearing people out and put it out there in the community. You're charging $10 to $20, a low stakes donation. It's not necessarily a huge money maker, but it is an ongoing monthly maker to have your virtual bingo or other entertainment night, you can keep doing this kind of thing. So now what are you guys going to do? You're going to go and talk to everyone in your club, not just the board. Get ideas. There's no idea that's too stupid or silly. Bring it all to the table. Talk to all your members. Look for opinions, look for skill sets. Who is good at graphics, or at the very least wants to go on Canva and fiddle around and try to come up with graphics? Who is good at running online events like Zoom or a webinar, or go to WebEx? Who can run an online meeting? Who knows people who can provide entertainment, who will pre-record a video of a musical act or a singer or something online? Who knows people who can donate things for an auction? Talk to everyone, even especially the quiet people. Let everyone put forth their ideas and talents, and then you look at what you have, and then you see, okay, what can we come up with now that we've got some good ideas and a good understanding of our assets and skills all put together. Now you do your research. The first link was that We Are Rotary video I shared with you. OneCause.com is a company you can hire to run your online auction or peer-to-peer fundraising event, but they also have an amazing resources center. The resources tab has a huge amount of information, pre-recorded webinars, blogs, all sorts of good information to give you a lot more success strategies than I can do in this short talk. So I really recommend them. The next link, the Fundly blog, has some really good peer-to-peer fundraising platform ratings. Bidding for Good, SnapRaise, Fundly, Salsa are all online auction event websites. Perfect Golf Event is something a Rotary Club recently did. A way to safely golf. People were golfing outside, but they were golfing on their own, recording their scores, posting them, and it became a virtual tournament that was a fundraiser, that was low stakes, easy to do, and people could safely do on their own. So you're going to do your research and figure out what financially makes sense, what has the assets we want to use, but you're going to figure out what the best online platform and planning method is for the kind of event you want to have. And everybody these days has tutorials. I was never on Zoom before March of this year. Zoom, Facebook Live, Crowdcast, all of these organizations have tutorials online or on YouTube that you can go and learn. So it's okay if you don't know, because you can learn. Get one or two people in your club who say, okay, I'm willing to be the Crowdcast expert, and go learn. Plan your events. Again, you really have to put the work in ahead of time. You can't just go, oh, here's my Zoom link. Your key message needs to be repeated throughout the program. You're sharing the impact. You're sharing your fundraising updates throughout the event. You're mixing it up. You guys now are stuck on a webinar or listening to me talk. You don't want that at a fundraiser. You want a mix of live action, pre-recorded, small group breakout, ways to involve the audience and get everyone part of it all. So you're creating that feeling of being together, and you have to plan it out. You're creating a run of show, which means to the minute, you have a spreadsheet that figures out what is happening when, who is running what tech, where is whatever element coming from, who's providing it, and how long it's going to take. So you cannot have that beloved PDG who gets up there and talks and talks and talks and talks. No. You say, Joe, we'd love to give you a speech, 2 minutes. Can you record something? And then you can fit that into your overall event so you keep it moving and you can keep that message repeated. And you check the tech and you practice it and you have fallback plans. And a really good thing I learned is you have a WhatsApp group so all the people involved in the event can talk to each other during the event by texting each other on WhatsApp. So you really put a lot of thought and planning ahead of it, so then when it happens, it can just flow, and you've thought about that. There's always a tech hiccup. If there is, what do we do? You've thought about it and planned it so you can roll with it. And when I say event, I really mean campaign. It's really not a one-time thing. It's a campaign that leads up to your event. Social media and email plans, message and impact videos. I cannot stress enough the importance of a 20-second video of someone saying, I'm raising money for this cause, because the emotion usually comes through and that will catch your audience. You're fundraising along the way, all along the way. Click here and donate. You'll get people donating throughout. You're activating your advocates. And that means you're not just posting it on your club's website and Facebook page. You're activating all your members to post on their own page, club friends to post on their page. You're posting it other pages. You're sharing it. If you have friends who have a really good audience on Instagram or Twitter, you say, hey, can you do me a solid and share it? It's much easier than asking people for money. You're saying, just share this, retweet this for me. You can even put a reach out and see if you can get a celebrity or like a big Twitter person to share your event on Twitter, which will then put it out there to an even bigger audience. And you'd be surprised. I have seen people like Lin-Manuel Miranda retweet people's efforts, and then it's out there now to many, many hundreds of thousands of people. The point being is you're having a planned campaign that builds momentum leading up to the event day or that hour event. So you're getting money along the way, you're building your audience, and you're doing the work so people will show up. Here's a success story of a campaign. Twin Bridges Rotary had a month-long campaign leading up to Giving Tuesday in early May. They had posts on social media. They had it themed weekly about different aspects of Gift of Life. They had short videos from surgeons, from parents of children, from the children themselves who have received the surgery. And if you don't know what Gift of Life is, it's a Rotary partner that provides heart surgery for children around the world. They had all these people involved. They had Rob Irwin doing videos, making it exciting, raising money along the way. And the final day on Giving Tuesday, they had kind of like a telethon on Facebook Live that also linked to their website. So throughout the day, there were different videos and updates, and you could pop in and out. You weren't stuck there all day. Their fundraising goal was $2,500. They raised $27,000. They had a solid campaign, and in 1 month, raised $27,000 for an important cause. And this link goes to their YouTube page, which shows the kind of videos I'm talking about, impactful videos talking about your cause. Now, what do we do on social media? This is the part where a lot of Rotarians really struggle. So you want to, again, your posts are to you. You're not making an announcement. You're trying to make a connection. Did you know that Immigrant Families Together has bonded out X? Have you seen what Amal Alliance has done during COVID to help children that they can no longer access in person? You're sharing information. You're sharing about why the cause is important. Did you know that, I forget the exact amount of pennies, but say it's 70 cents. Did you know that for 70 cents, you can provide polio vaccine and help save a child's life? You're making these connections online throughout your campaign. You are activating your advocates, so you are getting the word out. You're changing up your wording so it's not the same message posted every day. Different videos, different graphics that are all connected by branding, accurate branding. So there are elements of it that stay the same, but you're still sharing different images. You want to have a consistent hashtag for your event. So you can build that, that resonance. If you've got a partner you're raising money with, you're hashtagging with Gift of Life or World Central Kitchen or some other group that also builds awareness to your Rotary Club because you're connecting to that other hashtag that might have a bigger following. So you're really, really, really reaching out and making efforts to get the word out and try to build something that catches a lot of attention. And part of the reason you're doing it is you're building your audience for your club. Now that we're online, it's a lot easier to come to a Rotary meeting or go to a Rotary fundraiser. You want to build an audience of people who are interested in your Rotary Club or Rotary in general. You want to build an audience of prospective Rotarians and friends of Rotary. And if your club isn't for them, even if they came to your fundraising event, don't let them go away. Find them a club that will work. Send them to Marty Schulman, or, let's talk about creating a new club. You're building an overall audience, and you're also opening up the possibility to help your club be more inclusive and reflective of the community. It is a lot less threatening to register and click a Zoom link to go to an online fundraiser than it is to pay a ticket, put a special outfit on, go across town, and walk into a room of people where you may not know anybody, and you don't know how welcome you're going to be. And this is an opportunity when you're fundraising online to try to expand that audience and really reach out to all your community and invite them to the event, because it is much less threatening and much more low stakes to pop into something online. So really, you want to build your overall audience that will last beyond your event. And I can't say enough. Say thank you many times. Report on the event results, the money raised, how dollars will be used, what the impact will be. You want to be upbeat and grateful because you're building a sense of community. Because of you, this school will be built. Because of you, 100 doctors and 100 healthcare workers are being fed today. Like that idea, thank you. This is the impact of your money. And do the work ahead of time. Get your thank you graphic ready. So right after the event, you're posting it and sharing it. Get your emails ready to be thanking people with more specific details. You could mail out thank you cards to your bigger donors. If you have a really special sponsor or donor, right, you're sending them a handwritten card in the mail. Do not underestimate how meaningful it is in this day and age to get the handwritten card that we may not touch for a few days to let any COVID germs, virus die away, but then they open the card and it's really meaningful. And you can still have sponsors. People who have had sponsors in the past, let them be part of your event. Let them be having their logos flashing throughout the event. Let them be part of the campaign that leads up to the event. Do they want to record a video explaining why they're sponsoring your club or this cause? They are still part of it. And you just want to make sure your thank you to them is resonant and meaningful as well, because you want to keep them coming back. This is the thing that's the most important. Do something. If it works, do more of it. If it doesn't, do something else. You don't have the same exposure when you're online of overheads of selling out ballrooms and we must raise enough money or to be in the black. Your costs are a lot lower. So even if you don't make your fundraising goals, you'll still have raised money. So do not be afraid to try something, anything. Put the work in, put the thought in, put all your club skill sets together, be open to ideas and just try it. Ask me if you have any questions on it, but try it. And if it's successful, try it again, tweak it. How could you improve it? Do it again. If it wasn't that successful, okay, but we learned. And now we learned that the next fundraiser, we're going to do this. So don't be afraid. That's the most important thing. So thank you. And I'm going to stop screen sharing. And then let's talk a little bit and take some questions.
All right. Hey, thank you, Cecily. And we have some questions already. And I think I'm actually going to take the first one. Sure. Do you need a license to virtually fundraise? And of course, that depends on your state or jurisdiction. So I would encourage you to check your local laws. For New York State specifically, you may be required to register if you don't fall into one of the exemptions. And I would encourage you to check out the New York Attorney General's Charities Bureau website or contact them for further questions. I'll try to get a link in the chat.
Right.
So
in general, though, most localities have issues with raffles and online games of chance that falls into a tricky thing which may not be allowed. But just like your club can always have an online donation link, just that idea of click here to donate, that is, and yes, Mary's right with the fine print, just double check. But in general, it's okay to click here to donate.
And generally speaking too, and once again, I'm saying this, I'm not a New York licensed attorney. I am licensed in Indiana. I want to keep my license. Generally speaking, if you're raising less than $25,000, that's one of the major catch-all exemptions too. But as Cecily said, if it smacks like online gaming, especially if you're in New York and not New Jersey, you got to be very careful.
But when it's not a raffle and click here and donate, you're generally okay.
Yeah, I think.
But
I think it's generally, I think you generally don't have anything to worry about. I'm sure that most of you have lawyers in your club and, you know, just run it by them. But I think you should, generally speaking, for most purposes, be okay. If you're fundraising online as opposed to fundraising in person, I think the same rules apply. So it doesn't change just because you're going online. Actually, this is a really great question. A lot of people who checked out the House of Friendship during the virtual convention loved that technology. Cecily, do you happen to know whether that's something that RI would share with clubs and districts if they wanted to do something like that for their event or for, say, a community day?
I'll see if I can find the secrets behind the House of Friendship for everybody. But there are definitely ways to think about doing things online where you can get a smaller feel of what's going on, doing a breakout room where you can sign up for learning more about a specific event. If you have a community day, Alina noted, you could have people, you could have it either pre-assigned, sign up for the community day groups that you'd like to know more about and pop in them for a little bit, or, you know, hey, breakout room 1 is this group, breakout 2 is that group. So there are definitely ways, and I feel some of the more advanced fundraising groups like One Cause and Everything, there are set up to really help you juggle the tech behind it. But just even on a Zoom, there's a way to think about how you do your breakout that could let you be part of that community day.
Awesome. A couple people noted you were mentioning some additional websites or resources that weren't on your slides.
They were on the slide. Yeah, I see that. They were on the slide, and you guys will get that. There's a Blogly link. So the slide of resources, there's one blog post that lists, when you go to that link, lists like 7 good peer-to-peer fundraising websites. But really, that one resource slide has all the ones I can really recommend that you can go take a look at. And whether you use them or not, I would stress looking at One Cause for their resources for their deeper learning. They just had a good post that came out, 15 steps for success for your walk or run, for doing it online. So if they're doing, you know, something like the AIDS walk that the Canadian group is doing, that kind of blog post could really help you out.
Cool. What kind of payment mechanisms do you recommend using? This is one of our more recent questions. PayPal, GoFundMe. I know that some have a more favorable fee structure than others. What do you suggest, Cecily?
Some have more favorable fee structures than others, and it might depend on what a club has already set up. You know, that if you're used to using a PayPal link and you've got that and you can use that. You know, there's even ways you can learn online to create the quote button, where you like see the button to click to donate that goes to PayPal. There is also, and I will find it, the name of it because it escapes me right now. There is a really great ethical credit card processing services where about 4 years ago, the CEO said, wait a minute, my employees aren't making enough money. And the starting salary for all his employees was $70,000. It changed. And he took a bit of a pay cut. And when the pandemic hit, all the employees took a little bit of a pay cut, but nobody lost their job. And he removed his salary for this year. And I will share that in the follow-up links to this. So if you're just literally saying, hey, I'm going to go reach out to a credit processing company for services, why not pick one that's actually ethical, like a merchant services company? So I'll give you the name for it, so you're still paying a fee, but you're paying a fee to a good company. So it's really all about what you want to do. If you are using a company like Salsa or One Cause that's designed to do peer-to-peer or event-driven fundraising, they're handling the credit card processing for you, but then they're taking a fee on top of it. So that might be for a low-tech club that's really struggling to understand how to do this all. Using a company like that helps because you're paying a few more percentage points, but you're getting the expertise on how to run the tech, as well as you're getting the merchant processing services help. So especially when you're getting your feet wet in that fundraising world, it's worth it to consider if one of those can really help you.
Here's another great question. Have clubs been successful at setting up Facebook fundraising accounts as nonprofits? It has taken nearly 2 months and our club has heard nothing from Facebook. It just says pending. Is this something you've heard other people comment about?
I do know one cause has some information on Facebook fundraising. I personally don't use Facebook a lot for fundraising just because it's for my own personal ethics of how they run their company and their practices. I've got some issues with them. So while I can't ever get away from it because Rotary is tied to Facebook, I haven't done anything where we're fundraising directly through that Facebook link. That's just a personal thought on my part. It is a bit of everything with Facebook is always a pain and it's always a hassle to get a response. That is definitely a true thing.
Cecily,
Yeah.
say that again, please. I think you went on mute for a little bit.
Oh, sorry, because I pulled off I everything with Facebook is always a bit of a hassle. I think Facebook is great to share your fundraising if you're going Facebook Live to build it out to a greater audience. I don't know if that's the best place to tie your button to. And that's, again, partly just my own personal thoughts given Facebook's overall general business practices and ethics. It's kind of give your money to people that you like their business practices kind of thing.
And actually, if you noticed in the chat, there are a couple of really good comments talking about it, the processing time for Facebook payments and dealing with Facebook. So I'll let you all read those in the chat. Here's another great question, which I'm going to take this one. Should we also get Rotary insurance if the virtual fundraiser is going to involve a physical activity? This is a question that comes up a lot in terms of fundraisers that have alcohol involved or physical activity involved. There is information on the Rotary International website for those of us based in the United States about the club and district insurance program. And there's also a contact number. I would definitely, and I'll try to get this up in the chat or in our follow-up. I'll get that contact number for you. I would definitely reach out to the insurance program folks and ask them. And there's actually a line directed to the insurance company provider, and they can probably give you a better idea of what is or isn't included in our policy. Just as an aside, and I know that IPDG Mabib has mentioned this at other gatherings, for those of us in the United States, our current club and district insurance program coverage does not, and underscore, does not include coverage for COVID-related claims. And so I leave that out to you, whether your club wants to look at or consider having a waiver if you are indeed thinking about having an in-person event. And if you have questions, we can talk offline, or I can get you in touch with Jim Cohen, our district counsel.
And I'm sure when you're doing, online walks or runs or something like that, there is a way to do that waiver where you're saying you get the right lawyerese to make the words appropriate, but you're essentially saying, dude, you're on your own and you assume all liability for this walk. If you fall down and break an ankle as you walk across your living room, no, you cannot sue the Rotary Club. So there's a way to, if you're doing anything somewhat physical, to appropriately word that to be like, come on, people, no. And then, yes, the advantage of doing things online is you really can avoid any COVID-related issues.
Exactly. And I think just like we were saying with regard to licensing, if it's something that you wouldn't think about getting separate insurance for, if it were a in-person, live event, I think this, the same kind of thinking applies. If you wouldn't necessarily get separate insurance for a 5K walk or a walk through Central Park that you're thinking about doing, I don't think you would probably have the same or come to the same conclusion with regard to a virtual event, if that helps answer that question. And I don't know if I see any more questions.
Now, I saw a good comment from Christine David, thank you, that there's several clubs in District 7950 have an annual online auction which is telecast on the local cable network. It's limited in the studio, but that idea is you can really get creative and reach out to see who wants to host your content. What paper, what website, what online, whomever has some public service advertising that they're looking to do and can help share the word and get the event out, or even broadcast your event. Really think everywhere. You want everyone brainstorming to go, wait, what about that? And don't we know that guy? And she would be perfect. And then that's where your event builds from.
Exactly. And a special shout out to our DRR, Faith Ford, who's talking about a virtual fundraiser that the Rotary Club of Manhattan, New York is putting together. And sort of as a related shout out, I hope that there will be continued Rotary actors involved in these sessions because they are our partners in Rotary. And in addition, when we're thinking about mentoring, remember that Rotary actors, interactors, younger members of our Rotary Club, they can mentor us who have a little gray in our hair in terms of virtual tools because they've lived in an online world their whole life. So be sure that you're including everybody in thinking about virtual fundraising.
Exactly. And to build on what Mary said, remember, these events are more accessible to everyone. If you're thinking your typical Rotary Club gala events where you're like, okay, well, we can afford X number of Rotaract discounted tickets, and it's kind of squeezing in and you want Rotaractors to come, but you can't give all the way the tickets for free. Now you're partners. Now you're all working together, coming to your event where everybody's invited. Everyone can pay what they want if it's in more like an online telethon gala kind of event. So you're equal partners with your Rotaractors working together on the event, and then people pay what they can, but you're gaining some most likely really great expertise on social media and Instagramming and all that stuff and getting out there. Most of us do not know what TikTok is. You could get some really good interactors out there doing TikTok videos for your cause, and that could be amazing. So that's where it's a different mindset than what we're used to. And that's okay. You just have to approach it differently, where you want to assemble all your tools and kind of put it together, or think about your event of our annual pancake breakfast can't happen, but is there a way to have an online event where we're demonstrating recipes or sharing recipes or selling a pre-made pancake mix if it's a pickup basket or something. You might be able to integrate in an existing event like the first one, the Rib Fest I mentioned, where you can convert it. It may not be as successful as past events, but your annual event can still happen in the mind's eye, and your community gets a chance to see it. I believe it's Peekskill that has the annual horse show. If that can't happen, is there something that could happen online where people are able to see the horses or vote on things or that kind of thing of thinking about your existing event. Can you pivot it? And just in general, being open to approaching this in a new format. But I see the stats. I see what Rotary clubs are doing. I see what other nonprofits are doing. People are raising money online and making it work.
It can be done. So speaking of TikTok, we have time for maybe one more question. I don't know if I see any others. Oh, and Tim Sachi, I'll talk to you offline. I'm a former 4-H'er, and I have some ideas to share about virtual animal shows. And so I'll share those offline with you. I just saw your comment.
Oh, that was very cool. I'm going to share this slide for you, Mary, for your upcoming.
All right. So we're going to be respectful of everyone's time. So thank you, Cecily. And more importantly, thank you all of those who attended tonight. I think this was a great session. So thank you, Cecily. And there's Cecily's contact information. And once more, and then I am so thrilled to announce that our next guest faculty member is, I think, one of the best, hands down, presenters in the Rotary world. Her name is Jennifer Scott. She's a past district governor from New South Wales, specifically the Blue Mountains, if you know anything about the geography of Australia. She is a former barrister who decided that she did not want to be in court day in and day out and decided to do mediation and dispute resolution and arbitration. She gave one of the best breakout sessions I've ever been to at an international convention on conflict resolution. And I think that's something that all of our clubs might need to brush up on from time to time, how to deal with those inevitable conflicts that come up in our clubs. So please sign up for next week's Rotary Youth session with Jennifer Scott, who will be coming to us Wednesday morning, live from Australia. And this is something that I'm so excited, and I hope we can all get on board for. This is something that Cecily brought to our district from a district, I believe, in Boston. Welcome to Rotary. I know that a lot of clubs struggle with orienting new members. This is a great way to bring your new members into the Rotary fold. We'll have a panel or a group of senior Rotarians from the district who are going to lead this session. It'll be very fun and fast-paced. We're going to be going into breakout rooms for 6 or 7 minutes, and it's kind of like a speed dating format. The first of these Welcome to Rotary sessions will be on Monday, August 3rd at 7 o'clock. And for those of us who have email in the District 7230 Club Runner, you should have also gotten a note about this from me about an hour and a half ago. The other great thing, and I don't know, Cecily, if you have a slide, we will also be doing a similar session specifically for Rotaractors. So
I don't have the slide to pull up, but yes, I'll be in touch with the Rotaract and Interact chairs and Faith for it as well, so we can pick a date that's good for you, because we also have Welcome to Rotary, the Rotaract edition, that we'd like to have at some point in August, and then another one again next spring. So this is for new Rotarians, prospect Rotarians, the people from the RI Leads list, and anyone who wants to learn more about Rotary. A lot of people join their Rotary club and that's all they know, and they like it, but there's a bigger world out there, and it's a more meaningful experience when we kind of know what's going on. So it's a really good experience for everybody. And we're also finalizing some free raffle prizes that will be awarded to people that come. So show up and learn, and you might win something cool for your club.
excellent. All right. We are now at the bottom of the hour. So Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I want to see all of you next Tuesday at 7:30, and we're going to learn about conflict resolution. So have a great, great rest of your Tuesday evening. Thank you, one and all. Be safe.
Thank you. And this will go on the district website, a link to it, as well as go out to our people by email. So we'll make sure everyone has access to all the slides. Thank you guys so much.